Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Friday Night Live or CFI After Dark, whatever you want to call it. I'm the pet man, Matt Morrow, and we had a great night of high school football action in the first round of the state playoffs. Um, of course, me and producer were at Northwest Cabarrus and Ashbrook as our game tonight. And that game was a low scoring, kind of old school football game. In the first quarter, there were no points as both teams were kind of feeling each other out. Kind of punch, counter punch, those kind of things. Ashbrook had some snap issues that they were kind of holding them back. And then Northwest Cabarrus had the ball in Ashbrook territory, close to the red zone. It was a 4th and 1. They went for it. Ashbrook was able to force an incomplete pass and turned over on downs. In the second quarter, Ashbrook was able to get it going a little bit. They put a little drive together, and they ended up kicking a short field goal for a 3-0 lead, which they kept going into the half. And it was really looking like it's going to be upset city because the Ashbrook defense was really doing a good job and Northwest Cabarrus couldn't get anything going. I mean, they were trying to run, they were trying to throw, and they just could not put a drive together. But then something happened, like we see a lot with a good team. Sometimes that first round of playoffs is a little slow to get going. And then something happened in the locker room, and they came out the second half, and especially in that third quarter, playing really well. They forced a 3-and-out from Ashbrook. They had the ball first. Then they came back with a strong drive. A lot of good running plays. They mixed in one big play action pass. They got them down deep in the red zone, but the Ashbrook defense held strong. They forced a short field goal, and it was tied up 3-3. And then I think the biggest play of the game, Carmelo Best had a run, and the Northwest Cabarrus defense forced a strip fumble from him. And after they got that fumble, Northwest Cabarrus was able to get a big 24-yard touchdown run from Jamari Norred. We interviewed him after the game. That interview's up on our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Really, really fun kid to talk to. Make sure you check that out. But that gave Northwest Cabarrus a 10-3 lead. So they started, to play a little bit more loose and, probably a little bit more like they've played all season long because they were tight, kind of coming out the locker room, you could tell. But then Ashbrook, they just couldn't get it going on offense. That was the big thing. And the Northwest Cabarrus defense played really well. I felt like they found some tendencies with Ashbrook, and they kind of took advantage of those things. And then Northwest Cabarrus was able to put together another drive kind of early in the fourth quarter. Alex Walker, quarterback, had a couple nice runs to close that drive out and get a touchdown run and made it 17-3. Once you felt like it got to that two-score game, you felt like it was going to be tough for Ashbrook because they're not built, to come back really fast with their offense. They're more of a ball control, first downs, control the clock kind of offense. It was very impressive for Northwest Cabarrus, especially in the second half. It was a good crowd. The Nutties, as the engine was telling us, were in full effect and had some great interviews. Make sure you check those out once again. And Coach Mormon's always fun to talk to. I hadn't talked to him for a little while, and he's really got that program going in the right direction. And big win. Looks like they're going to host Ledford next week at Northwest Cabarrus. Speaking of the engine, he's here, and we're going to bring him on and let him talk about a big game in the 2A West that he was at. What's up?
Come on, man. I'm tired. I just walked in the house.
Don't get me started.
Past your house twice, going up to Forest Hills, coming back from Forest Hills, the home of Randy Travis, Marshville, North Carolina. An incredible game, an incredible defensive game by both sides. I mean, obviously, we have a 9-1 Forest Hills, whose only defeat was last week against a very good Monroe team versus the defending state champions. And even though Shelby's record may not be what they're used to the past couple of years. Shelby is still an extremely talented team. Forest Hills came into it without their starting quarterback, Hibbert, who has had a fantastic year. So they went to Gabe Crowder, who, come to find out, I didn't realize this, was their starting quarterback last year. I mean, the first two series, Crowder looked extremely comfortable in the quick game. He was throwing darts. They were moving the football. Had some penalties that really plagued Forest Hills early on. Keeping it honest, Shelby had some drops that plagued them really throughout the game, for that matter. But it was a defensive struggle. Shelby scores first on a 26-yard field goal to make it 3-0. They come back and they score a little bit later to make it 10-0. I think it goes on. Forest Hills scores next to make it 10-7 on a direct snap kind of thing. At halftime at 17-7. Shelby picked up 3 scores from number 5. His name's not on Max Prep. So Big Shelby, if you're watching, man, help me out with number 5. He played linebacker for me, came in and kind of this big set. And he was their Taysom Hill. I mean, he had touchdown runs of 3 yards, and then a game long of 4 yards and picked up 3 scores along the way. An extremely talented player. I thought Drew. Okay, there you go. Hollifield. That's all I need to know. Makes sense. Shelby extremely big up front, big 77. They call him Big Baby. It's funny to hear people yell in the stands for Big Baby. Number 3, I was really impressed by. Number 2, I was really impressed by. Number 5, I was really impressed by. I thought that Shelby's defensive backs played well. I was surprised that Forest Hills didn't have a little bit more quarterback design runs for Crowder, but if he was their only other option, I get it. But he did a really good job. Of course, Dalen Lee, stud under pressure, man, the calmest kid back there that you can have. Yeah, thank you. Big Shelby, Jaden Pierce, 77, Cam Anderson, number 5, Ken McGill, number 2, all played extremely well. Number 3 played well. I think he had some cramps that kind of plagued him as well. But an overall extremely well played out game between both Shelby and Forest Hills, man. Forest Hills has some dudes. I was really impressed once again with Crowder playing quarterback. They had 2 or 3 different guys. They were running at running back. Their offensive line played well. Their defensive line played extremely well. It was really a battle of defenses up front. But in the end, Shelby just had more dudes than Forest Hills did. They have a big rematch next week. I believe they're going back to Lawndale for their rematch versus Burns. And hats off to Coach Deese and the Forest Hill staff.
Well said, man. Once again, I give you a second on that to Coach Deese at Forest Hills. What an awesome season. He's definitely the man to lead that program. He's got it going in a great direction. And they got some really talented seniors. You mentioned there, and Deese and Crowder and a couple of those guys that I evaluated for the Queen City Senior Bowl. So
really like the Deese kid, Ephraim Deese. Really like him. Of course, Crowder. They had several running backs that were very impressive. Ran the ball extremely hard. They were just outgunned in a couple key positions.
There you go. But congrats to Shelby, and we got some. Man, I got to look at the brackets. We got some great matchups lining up for the second round. We'll finish out the show on that tonight. Let's get to your comments. Chat Administrator 47-26, big win for Mooresville. Dominant rushing attack. I think he sent me, it was over 300 yards as a team on the ground, with Jawan Howell getting over 200 yards on the ground. Caleb Edstrom had a touchdown run. Mooresville being the number 2 seed, man. It's a lot of expectations. And that being said, we got Butler at Mooresville next week. That'll be a fun one. That'll be a fun one for sure. It's on the list. We got some tough decisions to make where we're going next week, man. Good gracious.
Mizzle, can you hook me up with some VIP seats next week?
Yeah, Mizzle. Yeah, Mizzle. Come on now. Yeah. Get some wings before the game. We get some wings and VIP seats, man. We might all be there.
We partied at the Pop.
Yeah, think about it, man.
Last time I went to the Pop, I knocked them out of the playoffs. 1997, Pep. Knocked them out of the first round of the playoffs. And then we went up to Hickory the next week. They were 36-0, the last 36 games, defending state champions, and 26-0. Put the smack down on the Jokers, too.
All right. Well, you'll get more of Kenneth McClamrock's playoff history on Football Focus Week next Wednesday night. Canadian School of Davidson. This was a comeback victory, 20-14 over East Gaston. We talked about this game. East Gaston was doing a good job controlling the clock, keeping that offense off the field. But it just wasn't enough as A.J. Sirianni and the Spartans move on to play Bunker Hill next week. So congratulations to the Spartans. Great job. As we said, Howell had 210 and 3 for Mooresville, and then Edstrom had his rushing touchdown. Big Shelby, good win over Forest Hills, as Kenneth broke down earlier. Shelby Burns round 2, and that's on the list too. Well, that'll be on the list for me and producer. You know, since we always get called out for not going to Cleveland County, we might go to Cleveland County. We'll see. I said might. All right, Karen Belk. Hey, Karen, how you doing? Independence 41, Greensboro Page 13. Big win in round 1 for the Patriots. And the next game, yes, the next game is Olympic. That's a big game in Charlotte. That'll be at Independence once again next Friday night. That's on my short list as well. It's great to see new teams in Charlotte play in a big second-round playoff game. And yeah, Independence definitely came through big times. A shout out to Nikisha, who, if you guys watch the show, you know who Nikisha is. Nikisha was sending me updates on the Independence game as you know, she was out there, and you know she
didn't send me updates.
Well, you know, that's my dog, man. That's my dog right there. You know, we here. So, and she wanted me to shout her out, so she was not watching tonight. She's gonna watch the playback, but appreciate it, Nikisha. Let's see here. Terrence Losh. Mallard Creek had 11 holding calls and 20 penalties against RGK. Officiating the worst he's ever seen. Not sure what the agenda was. RGK had none and couldn't block. Officials like, oh, well, all right. Well, this is not something that we haven't heard before, you know, unfortunately this year, but Mallard Creek won the game. That's what the most important thing is, and they're moving on to a rematch, another rematch against Huff in the second round. That's on the short list as well. So shout out to the Mallard Creek Mavericks for bouncing back. Didn't let a big game loss beat them twice, and they got the big win there in the first round. Let's see. Looks like Big Shelby want to shout out these guys: Jaden Pierce, 77, Cam Anderson, number 5, and Camden McGill, number 2, for doing a great job. So great job, guys. Now, Benji Moose, Mount Pleasant. They had a win over Walkertown, 28-13. Yeah, I saw they gave up the opening kickoff, and I said, "Oh man, it might be a long night." But they bounced back.
Who did I pick for that game?
You picked Mount Pleasant.
Oh, you knew they were going to be okay. He was playing, wasn't he?
Oh yeah. 3 touchdowns for him. Good gracious.
All he does is score.
So they are moving on, and I don't have my bracket up just yet. I don't know who they're moving on to play, but congratulations to Mount Pleasant. Huge win for sure. And if you're in need of dating, apparently there's another spam idiot on our show. You idiot. What are you doing? What are you doing?
There's a space in between the dot and the com, though. Make sure you.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Get out of here. You're banned. You're banned. Come on, chat administrator. You gotta warn me when those things pop up, man. If you need a date, you know, there's several things you can do. You can go to a bar. You get on a legit dating app. You know, there's other things you can do. Do not go to that garbage that was just posted on here, because if they got time to post on here, it's not quality. All right. Let's see. Joe Slater, Charlotte Christian, 46. Maybe I thought that game was gonna be closer. Wow. Christian, nice, impressive win in round one in the NCISAA private school playoffs, and they're moving on to the next round. Congratulations. Let's see. Kitty Griner, Huff Stetler is happy for West Charlotte. So I presume they won over Stuart Kramer. I hadn't seen that exact score, but we'll go through the ticker before we do the brackets, and we'll get that exact score. But congrats to the Lions for getting on a big win there. Joe needs a drink. I agree. It's a long night, man. Kings Mountain big win, 42-6 over St. Stephen's. That was a great job. And then Marcus Bell with some more details there. Good Lord. 42 in the first quarter? Starting offense only played 10 snaps. Oh, well. And they're playoff ready. And they're going to host Smoky Mountain next week. So
Smoky Mountain's quarterback will be at the Winter Showcase on December 10th.
That's right. So that'll be good to see how he handles a top defense that Kings Mountain has, man. Good stuff right there. Producer with the shout out to Big Shelby for the big win. And he also wants to shout out Mount Pleasant for making his pick wrong. So
you went against Mount Pleasant?
We all did except for you.
Oh, okay, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, we're all terrible. And I'm just seeing a score. Oh my gosh. Look at this. Almost West Meck. Almost. Oh man, that's a number 3 seed Oak Grove against a 30 seed in West Meck. And West Meck almost went up there and got it done, man. Heck of a season. Great effort. We felt like that was going to be close because of the levels of competition that both teams have seen, and that bared out to be true. But it's a great building block for West Meck going into next year. A lot of those guys are coming back to that team, and they're going to be a team to watch for sure in Charlotte. God almighty, man. I wish they would have got that done. Let's see here. Yeah, I just saw that comment. Yeah, I appreciate that. I wish they would have got it, man. I wish they would have got it. Here's that West Charlotte score. West Charlotte 40, Stuart Kramer 13. Yeah, that's pretty good right there. That's pretty good, man. Shout out to West Charlotte. And we'll take a look at the bracket here shortly and see who they're gonna play next. Let's see here. More comments. All right, no more comments we need to share. All right, so in the ticker, we have Butler over Hickory Ridge, a 15 versus 18 matchup, pretty even, and the score was pretty even. Butler winning 28-21 over Hickory Ridge, moving on in the playoffs. Let's see, Weddington over Marvin Ridge in that rematch, 29-19. They advance. Eastern Guilford on the road goes into Parkwood and gets the win, 56-42. And they'll move on. Mountain Island getting a win. It's been a little atypical year for Mountain Island, but they get the win over Bessemer City. I thought this game would be close, and it was 16-14. And they'll move on to the second round of the playoffs. Congratulations to Coach Washington and those guys for bouncing back and getting that done. AC Reynolds was big over A.L. Brown, 55-14. And they'll move on, and they're playing Chambers in a very interesting game up at AC Reynolds next Friday. Robbinsville was big over Cherryville, 40-14. West Rowan was big over Franklin, 35-7. Charlotte Catholic was really big over Reagan, 48-22.
Pep, you got another spammer on Facebook, man.
God almighty. It's your own people, man. Your own people. Unbelievable, man. God of mercy. I'm not acknowledging that until Wednesday. I don't have to talk about it until then. So you Facebook people know what I'm talking about. Chambers was big over Porter Ridge, 34-3. Huff was big over Providence, 49-0. We mentioned Malley Creek over RGKL, 26-14. Cox Mill was over Lake Norman 45-33. Olympic was over TC Roberson 21-14. That was the final score on that one. Talked about all those. Crest was big over Statesville 33-7. I think Lanisha asked about South Point. I don't know if he meant North Carolina or South Carolina, but the North Carolina version of South Point was big over Hickory 48-13. We'll get the South Carolina score hopefully shortly. Tuscola over Forest View 35-14. Spartanburg was big over Nation Ford 59-17. Indialand got it done on the road at Lawrence 41-20. Congrats to Indialand. Catawba Rouge was big over Riverside 63-28. Congrats to the Copperheads. Gaffney, oh my gosh, these South Carolina scores are huge. Gaffney 60, Rock Hill 23. Talking about big scores, Drawn and our buddy Elijah Tillery big over Union Academy 66-13. Another big score, Monroe 56, North Stanley 6. The South Point, South Carolina, they were on the road at Greer and they won big 38-14. Wow, good stuff for South Point. Yep, there's Coach Q. Hey, congratulations, man. Awesome stuff, man. I saw y'all were up like 31-0, man. You got that thing rolling. That's awesome. What they say, still South Point?
Still South Point.
Still South Point.
Football City, USA.
Absolutely, man. Congratulations, guys. And then South Carolina rolling. James Island, they were in the pick'em. And our buddy, Coach McCoy and Coach John Fay, they knocked off York 32-14 to move on to the second round of playoffs. What a great job James Island down in Charleston is doing all year long. J.M. Robinson over Wilkes Central 22-12. They move on in the playoffs. Highland Tech lost to Andrews 77-8. Oh my gosh. But Christ the King, great season. And it continues 42-13 over Avery County. East Lincoln big over Ashe County 51-6. Pine Lake, talked to Coach Trotter. He sent me a couple things about this game. 38-20 winners over West Stokes. I'm gonna share with you what he sent me because we had a special performance in that game. Quarterback Nick Reed was 19-25 for 412 yards passing and 3 touchdowns, and that's a school record for passing yards in a game. He also broke a record of single season passing yards with that and single season passing TDs. So we've talked about Nick Reed before. Usually it's about his running and then his defense, but you know, I joked with Coach. I said, switch to the air raid for tonight.
Also will be at our Winter Showcase December the 10th.
Absolutely, man. 2 of those receivers went over 100 yards in receiving. Joe White had 175 and a touchdown, and Aiden Ziegler, we talked about him before. He had 143 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. So congrats to Pine Lake. They'll move on. Let's go back to the ticker. Watauga, big over South Iredell, 42-13. Burns, as we already know, over Moorhead, 62-13. And Turbo, Richard, and Northwestern, big over Wade Hampton, 64-7. God, nice. South Carolina, man.
A lot of points scored.
You're not kidding. Jesus. Okay. More comments here. Miss Mowry, Olympic versus the Big I will be a Charlotte Classic. I want to see the alumni for both of those schools really come out. Because we know Independence had their great run, of course, but Olympics having a special season. You know, this is their first undefeated season in school history. I hope they have a huge crowd over there next Friday night, man. Because both of those programs deserve it.
Deborah McClamrock, alumnus of Olympic High School, cheerleader at Olympic High School. My mom.
Is she coming out?
That was a long time ago, Pat.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. I got you. Let's see. Jason Bass has a question for you. Are you going up to the ACU?
I'm out. Is it at Chambers? I ain't driving AC Rentals. That's for sure.
We need some sponsorship on that. We need what's the CFI gas card we always talk about?
I somehow ended up on a toll road tonight going to Forest Hill. Since when is there a toll road?
Oh yeah, the what is it? The 74 bypass?
Yeah, freaking yeah. I looked and I was, what the heck? This isn't 74. What the heck am I?
Shout out to Coach Kenny leading us Kings Mountain D lineman, man. Great job, Coach. Moving on. Good stuff. Let's see here. You guys are killing it on the comments. Yeah, you're welcome, Coach, man. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. We're going to keep on doing it, of course. Elisha Wilson shouting out Dub C. Yeah, we know how Dub C can get down. You know, I'm sure there was a party over at Waddell tonight. And let's see who everyone's got coming up here. So let's hopefully we got some updated brackets. At least we know who we know mostly, at least in Charlotte, who won. So we'll give it a shot. All right, so let's go to our football 2022 brackets, and we'll talk about matchups coming up next Friday night in a big round 2. So, scores are updated. Look at that. All right, so Charlotte Catholic is going to go up to Greensboro Grimsley. Ooh, what a game that's going to be up at Grimsley next Friday. We said if that matchup happened, I know I said that I liked Catholic, early in this one. Grimsley defeated Davie County 69-37. They played basketball? That's just good gracious. Oh, so that's a heck of a matchup. Of course, we talked about Independence Olympic matching up. Huff Mallet Creek rematch happening. Mount Tabor knocked off Asheville 28-26, setting up a rematch with East Forsyth. They have played earlier this year. Watauga will move on to play Northwest Guilford, who defeated Southern Guilford 45-20. We know Northwest Guilford has a really talented quarterback in Tanner Ballou.
Will also be at the Winter Showcase on December 10th.
There you go. And we got this is a fun matchup. Weddington is hosting Cox Mill in round 2. That's a fun looking matchup right there. And then we talked about AC Reynolds hosting Chambers and a heck of a second round matchup.
Nation Best, man, I'll shoot you my address. Come by and pick me up.
We'll see if that happens. And then, of course, we talked about it. Butler going up to Mooresville for a awesome round 2 matchup. Looking at the eastern side of things, I'm trying to see if there's any matchups that look interesting. Wake Forest is playing Leesville Road. That might be a little interesting there. Hoggard and New Bern is always a good game. They're hooking up in the second round. Let's take a look at 3A, and we'll go through a couple of those matchups for round 2. You'll get a full breakdown on most of these next week on Football Focus Weekly. So we got Kings Mountain and Smoky Mountain. We talked about that. West Charlotte will be at home once again at Waddell as they host High Brighton, who got past Southern Guilford 32-27. And I like West Charlotte in that one too. And that High Brighton team is not the typical High Brighton team that we know. So we might be trending towards a Kings Mountain West Charlotte third round matchup. We saw that matchup in the second round last year. As we said, Northwest Cabarrus is going to be hosting Ledford. Ledford defeated Freedom 41-0. Impressive this Friday night. Tuscola and East Lincoln will face off. That's going to be an interesting game, kind of contrasting styles right there. Crest will be going up to Oak Grove, and you got to like Crest's chances based on what we saw with West Met. Another great matchup. Dudley hosting South Point out of Belmont. Wow. That was not regional. I think it was a regional final last year. Now they're hooking up in the second round. My goodness. Asheville Irwin will host Eastern Guilford, who defeated Parkwood. And then West Henderson will be hosting West Rowan. That'll be an interesting game. I kind of like West Rowan's chances there, possibly. All right, now down to 2A. Of course, Reedsville big over Madison 76-14. Good gracious. They'll be hosting Providence Grove, who defeated McMichael. Chase, another big score, 74-15 over North Wilkes. Good Lord. And the loss to McCombs is not hurting them.
With Chase and JMR's playing, right?
Yep, J.M. Robinson at Chase. That's a heck of a second round matchup. My goodness. Maiden. Okay, so Maiden will be hosting Mount Pleasant. So that's where Mount Pleasant is going to go. And, you know, they
Maiden's quarterback also will be at the Winter Showcase December 10th.
There it is. There it is. Bunker Hill will be on the road at Community School of Davidson in a round 2 matchup. We mentioned the Bird.
Davidson's quarterback, AJ Sirianni, will be at the Winter Showcase December 10th.
You see these themes. So now, let me finish up the brackets, and we got some guests that want to come on. I forgot I sent the link out. Let's see. We got the Burns and Shelby rematch we talked about, and then Salisbury will be hosting Pine Lake in an interesting second round matchup. Yeah, going up to Salisbury, man. That'll be some fun right there.
Oh, well.
And then what? Ooh, I just saw this score. It wasn't on the ticker, but Lincolnton beat Randleman 37-36. Shout out to Lincolnton. Congratulations, man. Big win. Lincolnton will be going on and facing Monroe in the second round. And then Hendersonville will be going to East Surrey after their win over West Lincoln 36-29. And we know East Surrey is a contender every year. They beat Anson 42-0 tonight. So, and then real quick on 1A, we'll kind of just hit the ones that kind of affect us. Christ the King will be hosting Hayesville. Hayesville beat Allegheny 37-22. North Carolina.
Hayesville High School.
Have I ever been there?
Yeah.
No.
Maybe.
We'll find out where Hayesville is,
No
for
idea.
Wednesday night.
I usually don't know where it is.
North Carolina will be going on the road to Mount Airy. That's going to be a fun game right there. Let's see. Drawn will be hosting Mitchell. Mitchell defeated South Davidson 72-21 tonight. Good gracious. Some of these scores are outrageous. And let's see here. Mountain Island. Mountain Island's going to be going on the road to Andrews. And Andrews defeated Highland Tech 77-8. So, all right. Lord. All right, let's see who's ready. I see, what is his name? Oh, my gosh. Let's bring him on. Waffle House Baby is ready to share some wisdom here. So, why don't you, I just saw your comment. Wow. Oh, man. All right, so.
Gotta have connections. Gotta have connections.
Just give me some sweet gravy.
Man, I ended up getting a ham and cheese omelet tonight, man. Getting some other than covered hash browns. Got me 2 chocolate chip waffles, and I got me a free sweet tea out of it too. So yeah, I'm good.
Good gracious. Wow. Oh, what's up, man? How was Crest and Statesville?
All right, it was 7-7 at halftime, and Crest had moved the ball up and down the field all night long, or especially in the first half, but just couldn't get anything out of it. The last 2 drives stalled by an interception and a missed field goal. But they got the ball to start the second half, drove down the field, converted a 4th down play on a play to Javarius Green, and then he somehow threaded the needle and got the ball into the green for a short touchdown pass, put them up 14-7. On the ensuing drive, you have Devontae Pettis get a sack and a forced fumble. Crest, I believe Crest went the 11 yards pretty quickly and scored a touchdown to put them up 2 scores. And it was pretty academic from there. And I believe Crest held them to 107 total yards of offense on the night.
Wow.
So they were outstanding tonight. They were really keyed in against a team that, was really riding high, came in on a 5-game winning streak, and really put the hammer to them. And if they can do that, they are definitely going to be a tough out.
Absolutely. M Tuck's got some words of wisdom for you, Joe. He says, you might not want those eggs.
Hey, it helps when you know the people cooking it. If it's a clean Waffle House, I don't want it. It probably ain't gonna taste all
that's an oxymoron. A clean Waffle House.
A clean Waffle House ain't one I want to be at. Just like I don't want to be at a clean fish camp. I don't want to be at a clean barbecue restaurant. Man, I bet you that food tastes stale as all get out. It's for the unseasoned.
Just go ahead and say what you want to say. White restaurant, Joe.
Now, hold on now.
No.
There are some non-Caucasians that do not know how to season properly. So.
That is correct.
We'll save that for the slime because, anyway.
Daddy Joe's Barbecue in Gaffney. My guy Shaq Step will get you right all the time.
Hey. Well, Mr. Waffle House, I hope you get home safe, man, and appreciate it as always.
Indeed, as always, man. Thanks for the time.
Absolutely, brother. And then we got I don't know why. What do you want, man?
You're on the bus.
I just want to let the world know Big Chevy was 7 on this pickup.
We are off the rails as usual as it gets late on CFI After Dark. And thanks, Big Shelby. Congratulations on your playoff victory, but you're more concerned about your 7-0 pick. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. Thanks. All right. Lanesha Dowd is asking about Providence Day. I thought I saw they won. I know they were up pretty good on Country Day. That's who they played tonight. Let me see if I can find a update from their Twitter account here. Let's see. Maybe you can find it on their athletic account. I feel pretty strongly that they won because I did see an update where they were up pretty good in that matchup. Yep, they're going to be advancing to the second round. I don't see a. Oh, okay. Well, at halftime it was 49-7. Finals 56-7. Okay, there we go. So Providence Day won 56-7. So there you go. All right. All right. Yes, we just went through those matchups next week. There's big matchups everywhere. It's going to be a great second round of playoffs, man. Great second round of playoffs. Yep, we talked about those as well. You get all those in detail next week on Football Focus Weekly. If you're going to be up late like me, you'll get highlights from Northwest Comparison Ashbrook along with pictures. It's going to be a late night for me. So if you want to stick around, follow my Twitter account, Instagram, and Facebook. You'll get that stuff here in a little bit. Otherwise, thanks to everyone. Congratulations to all the teams that won. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend. See you Wednesday night on Football Focus Weekly. Good night, everybody.